Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I am your host, Dr. Angela Butchchester. You know what I like to do on my show. Say it with me. I want to enlighten, inspire, and empower you to become your best self. Now, Scripture reminds us that the tongue is a small thing that makes grand speeches, but a tiny spark can set a great forest on fire. And today, that's what we want to do with our guest. We want to get you fired up about Kara Amos, and we are talking about her book, Death of a Diamond Lady, a Robbie Raines mystery. So go on, get comfy, get cozy, get your coffee or get your tea, because we are about to get started. Hello, Kara. Thank you so much for joining me here on Daily Spark with Dr. Angela.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Angela. I'm thrilled to be with you.
Absolutely. Now, I love children's book authors. I say that with every children's book author that I interview, because you guys have taken it upon yourself to edutain our children. And I think that that is a very special task that you take on. So I can't wait to talk to you about your book. Now, we have a tradition around here, and that is I always give my guest an opportunity to introduce themselves to our listening audience. With that being said, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? What makes you, you?
Well, let's see. I am a longtime television producer. I've been in the TV business for over 30 years. I've spent the past 5 or 6 years focusing on crime stories. I'm also a history nerd and a mystery lover. And I think I've combined all of those elements into my writing.
And you know, I think that the mystery writing part, oh, that's so yummy. You know, because a really good mystery, you don't see it coming. You can't figure it out until it's already happened, and you go, oh, wow, that was good. So I really like that part. Now, being an author, is that something that you've always wanted to do, or did you find that that was yet another medium, another way in which you were able to share your vision, share your thoughts with the world?
I think it's an addition to my interest in the media. As a producer, a television producer, I have spent a lot of time working with visuals, but also working on story and narrative and developing characters in my work. So I think the writing just kind of naturally flowed out of the work I was doing. And I'm also a huge reader. I love a good book. So for me, I think it was a natural progression.
And you know, I have to agree with you on lover of a good book. My mother introduced me to books at a very young age, but not just any old thing, but really books that would capture your imagination and really take you on that journey. And because of that, I have to agree, I love books still until this day. And it's quite interesting that I get to speak to authors as a part of what I do now. I just see how it all overlaps into each other. So I love that. Now, the title of your book, Death of a Diamond Lady, a Robbie Raines mystery. I have to ask you about that title. Okay, Death of a Diamond Lady. Oh, that's cute. I like that. But who's Robbie Raines at the same time? So there's a twofold question there.
Well, this is the second book in a mystery series for children based on the character that I invented named Robbie Raines. The first book in the series is called Secret of the Stairs. This one is Death of a Diamond Lady. And in this book, young Robbie, who is a young African-American girl who is a history nerd and uses her love of history and a secret talent to solve mysteries, in this book, she finds out a famous singer in her town was found dead, and some think she was murdered. So Robbie decides to find out if she was and who did it.
I like it. Who did it? Now, we're talking a children's book here, so I want to make sure that the parents of the right age group perk their ears up. With that being said, are we looking at a particular age range that is the best fit? Elementary school, junior high, high school? What are we talking here?
We're talking middle grade. So I would say, 9, 10, 11, 12 in that range, and of course up. So even those of us who are older than that but young at heart and love a mystery, I think will enjoy it. But definitely middle grade kids is the target for this series.
Absolutely, absolutely. I came across an author one time that said something very similar. He says, listen, just because it's for kids doesn't mean that we adults can't enjoy a good book as well. It's fun, it makes you laugh, and it's great to have some downtime from the hustle and bustle of the day or the worries of the world. And I was like, yeah, I couldn't agree with you more there. Now, why did you decide to write a mystery series for kids? You could have written one for adults, let's say. Why was it important that this series be rated especially for children?
Well, when I was a kid, my mom brought home a couple of books from something called the Bobbsey Twins Mystery Series, and I was hooked. I read them all. I also read some Nancy Drew and a few Hardy Boys mysteries, and I also watched their TV shows, but I wanted to create a different type of young kid sleuth, one that young kids of color might relate to, and there also aren't quite a lot of young kid detectives in the making, so I thought I would create one.
You are so right there. I think that is a really great market that needs to be addressed more often. We do need to have many more young African American children that are portrayed in this light. I could not agree with you more. I'm glad that this generation will be able to see that and have that experience, because many of us did not, or have as many as we would have liked. Now, the girl sleuth in these books is Robbie Raines, and you mentioned that earlier. Did you model Robbie on parts of anyone in particular, her personality? I mean, I know that what is his name? I can't believe Tyler Perry. Whew, I almost forgot that name. Can't believe that. Tyler Perry says that he fashioned Medea after his mother, after his aunt, and several church ladies. So we pick upon the greats in our lives, right? So with that being said, how did you create Robbie's personality?
Well, she is an only child like I am. She's a huge history buff like I am. But unlike me, she has a hidden talent. She has visions of historical people that she's read about, and she uses those visions to solve her mysteries. But I would say parts of her personality, her curiosity, her determination, that does come, I think, from parts of myself.
And I think that that's kind of fun when we know that the author has given us just bits and pieces of themselves. It makes it that much more intriguing, that much more fascinating, that much more fun, because it's like, oh wow, that is amazing. So when they get to meet you in person, let's say at a book signing or a book expo, it's like, oh yeah, she's awesome sauce because of the book. I love that personal touch that you added there. Now, when you were in the process of writing your book, many authors have a particular ritual or an environment or a thing that they need to do in order to really hear themselves think. Was there a particular time of day that you found that really worked better for you, or a particular place where you needed to be so that you could be more productive?
Well, yes. I try to write the exact same time every week so that it becomes a part of my normal schedule. So for me, I would block off Tuesday evenings as my writing time, and I block off one weekend afternoon, either a Saturday or a Sunday, depending on the weekend. And I would try to stick to that routine every week, weekend in, week out, no matter what, so that it just becomes normal. Tuesday night is writing night, and I would sit down at the computer in my home office And even if I couldn't write more than a paragraph that night, I would stick to that schedule. Some Tuesday nights were productive, some weren't, but I think sticking to the routine was very useful in making writing a just regular part of my life.
Oh, I like that. Because I think you've just given someone permission to know that it's okay, that if you only wrote a paragraph, or even if you couldn't get that out, the fact that you blocked it off, that you were trying to take those steps moving forward in the process. I love that. And I find that more and more people that are really being mindful of their time and being aware. Nowadays we call it time blocking. Before, it was time management. There's always a phrase in which we use, but just being able to give yourself that time, that exclusive time to really devote to your craft. I think that is so important. I love it. I love it. Now, you are not a first-time author, and which is why I'm going to ask you the next question there. When it comes to information, many times we're lacking certain information because we don't know what we don't know. With that being said, is there any piece of advice when it comes to the process of writing that you now know, because you are a seasoned author, that would be just a game changer, or at least help turn the light bulb on for that new author out there, that aspiring author out there?
I would say, don't be afraid to fail. I think so many of us get stopped because we're afraid of failure. We're afraid to sit down and write something and not like it, or sit down and not be able to write something that we think we should because we have high expectations. So I think getting over that fear of failing is important. Once you realize that whatever I'm writing, it's not going to be live streamed off my computer that moment or off my notepad. I can go back and change it. I can change it next week or next month. I could put it aside and come back to it in 5 months. But I think if we get over that fear that, oh my goodness, this may not be a Pulitzer Prize winning book I'm writing here, once you get over that, I think it opens up your creative process. You can sit down and just start to let stuff flow. And if you don't like it, change it.
Oh, I love that. If you don't like it, change it. And I had to chuckle at the no, it's not being live streamed right now at this moment. You are so right. I love that. And I think that people do almost have that fear of failure, even though they may not be consciously aware of it. But just making that forward progression, just stepping out in faith and getting it down can really be a game changer. I love it. I love it. Well, let's see. We have about a minute left in this segment, so I want to ask you this question. And it's a question that I ask of many of my guests, and that is, when you have completed the writing portion, you have to determine whether or not you want to illustrate the book, and if so, what is the vision for the illustrations that will be included? How did you go about that part of the process? How did you come to the conclusion of which illustrator to utilize?
Well, interestingly enough, this book and none of my books have any pictures. These are just books that have a cover, which I come up with ideas after the book is written on what should be the cover and the design. But basically, I write books for children that, as I said, middle grade, that have no pictures. And in a way, I think that's important because then that means the readers have to supply the visuals in their own head. I think having a book where you have to visualize the scene, visualize what's happening yourself is very important in sparking your own imagination, your own inner eye, as it were.
Absolutely. I love that. And that's what I mean by going on the journey with the author. Your imagination is so vivid. And for someone who says, well, I don't have an imagination, this might be the book that sparks your imagination. You just never know why something is placed in your life. Maybe this is the beginning of so much more. So I love it. I love it. Now, Kara, it is time for us to go to break, but before we do, can you please remind everyone what is the title of your book? Where can we get a copy? And of course, how do we stay in contact with you?
Certainly. The name of the book is Death of a Diamond Lady, a Robbie Raines mystery. It's available at Amazon. And for more information or to reach me, go to my website, RobbieMysteryDiamond.com.
Alrighty, everyone. Now you know where you can get a copy of the book. We'll be back right after this. And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I'm Dr. Angela Chester, but my guest today is Kara Amos, and we're talking about her book, Death of a Diamond Lady, a Robbie Raines mystery. I love it. Now, when it comes to your ideas, this is a series, so not only did you have to come up with one story, you had to come up with another story, which kind of ties in its own little way, even if it's just utilizing a rollover character of Robbie. With that being said, where do you get the ideas for your mysteries? How do you determine what will unfold in each book?
Well, the ideas come from everywhere. It could be something in the news, something that I hear among friends, or for me, it's often some cultural or historical fact that I hear or read about that intrigues me, and I want to know more about it, and I then build a mystery around it. So for the current book, Death of a Diamond Lady, I'm fascinated with gems and gemstones. So I gave the singer or the victim in the story a vast jewelry collection, which allowed me to do research on gemstones, and I incorporated that research into the book.
Oh, that is interesting. I love that. See, I tell you, edutaining our children. See how that works? That is educating and entertaining. I did not fashion the word. I wish I would have, but that's not my word. But I love it. I love it. Mm-hmm. You know, that is something that that I believe that young people could get a little bit more into, even if it's just learning about the gemstone of the month in which they were born. I remember as a little kid, I never knew which stone I liked the most. Since I'm a February baby, I always said, "Hey, amethyst. That's my thing." And so I just remembered that and rolled with it. Exactly. And until, of course, I found out that, you know, some months had rubies and diamonds, and I was like, wait a minute, you have a diamond? How'd you get that one? So I thought that was...
And diamond is for April.
Yeah.
So if you're an April baby, you're a diamond girl.
I love it. So just learning all of that, that is so true. And what a great way of bringing intergenerational conversation together as well, or a bonding moment together as well. You know, being able, well, Mom, when's your birthday? Or Grandmother, when's your birthday? You know, so you are so right there. I tell you, she's doing great things out here. I love it. I love it. Now, of course, when an author decides that they're going to share a story, many times you have, I like to call them nuggets of wisdom, or I'm going to say, using your context, the jewel along the way, right? These nuggets of wisdom. Is there any particular jewel or piece of wisdom that you want to make sure that the parents who purchase this book, or perhaps reading even to a younger child, that they take away? I'm going to ask the same question about the reader, like the young person as well, but is there one that you would like for the parents to take away?
Yes, I think for parents, these books will help them talk to their kids about a range of issues and subjects, and maybe find out what they're interested in. The thing about the Robbie character is she has lots of things that fascinate her, that interest her, that spark her imagination. So this might lead to discussions from parents about, well, what part of this book? Was it the gemstones? Was it the mystery? Was it the history facts that are sprinkled in? What is it that your child is interested in? I think it can help parents chat with their kids more and find out what they love.
Yes, I like that. I like just the bringing together of family. I think is so important, just to have that bond there, and it really does last a lifetime. I still remember a book that my mother read to me about a horse that that had this just quirky little personality. Flip the horse, and boy was he just a big personality. It was so funny, but. What I also remember is the way that made me feel, the way that my mother read the book and the excitement in which she read the story to me. So I could not wait to be able to purchase that book for my children. So you are so right there. Now, same question with the kids in mind. What do you hope that the kids will take away, or the children will take away, having read your book?
Well, I hope kids will become more interested in history and realize it's not just a dull subject with names and dates, but it can be honestly fascinating. I also wanted to give kids, all kids, a fictional character that doesn't wear a cape, but can do amazing things with her brain. It's her mind power that helps her succeed. And I think that's a very important lesson for all kids to take away, that, you don't have to be a superhero or a star singer, dancer, or athlete, but your brain is an amazing thing, and if you use it, you can do amazing things.
Oh, yes, I cannot applaud that idea more. You are so right there. I think more children need to be reminded of that it's okay to be, smart. It's okay to be a little nerdy or a little geeky or, whatever words they want to use for that.
Yes.
But that's okay, because at the end of the day, the more that we are getting involved with tech and the more things are becoming globally connected, we need those personalities around. We need them to be our future leaders. So rock on. I hear you there. I love it. Now, for so many people, reading has been historically something that has caused you to be teased. And we know that in, be it that you are a particular ethnic grouping or a socioeconomic grouping, look at you with a book. What are you trying to do? Are you, you think you're better than us? Are you trying to be special? What do you, that type of thing. But yet we have been also told that reading is fundamental. Reading, education will get you where other things will not take you. With that being said, why do you think that it is so important for our children to still read? To don't let videos become the only way that they are being educated or even entertained? Why is reading still important?
I think reading sparks the imagination in a very unique way. When you're reading a book, especially without pictures, as I mentioned, you have to imagine the scene in your head. You have to create the world you're reading about in your own mind. And instead of, say, on a video screen or a movie where the images are already set for you, they've been created by someone else and you're just absorbing them, when you're reading words, you have to make the visuals in your own head. And I think that's important because in so many instances in life, you have to imagine something before you can achieve it. You have to be able to think in your own mind, I can do this, I can create this, before you can actually create it or do it. So I think a strong imagination where you're actively imagining instead of passively accepting information, I think that's important.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you're really onto something, and I hope that someone hears you when you say that we need to allow our imagination, the individual person's imagination, to take them along on the ride of the story. I know that reading something as a child, you paint a picture a certain way, and then as you grow and mature, you realize the the differences. I remember as a little girl hearing about the Underground Railroad. And as a small child, as a little girl, I'm thinking, wow, that's like a subway. Like an Underground Railroad in my mind, what we would now call a subway, right? I was like, wow. Because where I grew up, we didn't have a subway. There was a train, but not a subway. So I'm thinking, like, that is amazing. Where is the subway in Virginia? These stories are here. I live in Virginia. Where's the subway? And then getting older, of course, getting older and understanding, oh, I understand. Boy, did the light bulb come on over my head. And then it just made the story even better. It helped me expand and take the journey of the story even higher. So I love the fact that you are allowing for that growth as well with your stories. I love it. Now, when and I kind of touched on it a little bit before, children nowadays are being pacified, if you will, many times with phones. We see 4-year-olds that know how to work an iPad better than some adults, right? And I don't know if that's a pro or a con yet, but they can, right? With that being said, do you have any suggestions on how to pull some of our little ones, our young people, away from that into their world of reading and having that broader imagination? Of course, it's all right to go back to that, or even to read the book on the iPad. But how do we get them back into reading a little more?
Well, I think by having parents read to you, I think that's a very important thing. Getting the parent involved, having that time set aside to sit with your child to read to them, I think is very important. And it's a very sort of bonding, as you mentioned, experience. I also think giving them books they can relate to personally, when they can see characters that are like them, characters who in the stories have cell phones and tablets, like my Robbie character, and who also face challenges like they do, but have fun adventures that are fascinating. So I think all of those things can help encourage them to turn to a book once in a while, even while they still have their cell phones and their tablets.
So much that you have come on and shared this with us. But before I let you go, can you please remind everyone, what is the title of your book, of this particular book? Where can we get a copy? And of course, how do we stay in contact with you?
Absolutely, and thank you, Dr. Angela. The name of the book is Death of a Diamond Lady, a Robbie Raines mystery. It's available at Amazon, and for more information or to reach out to me, go to my website, RobbieMysteryDiamond.com.
Thank you again for being a guest on the show today.
Thank you, Dr. Angela.
And listeners, thank you for spending some time with us here as well. I hope that we have enlightened, inspired, and empowered you again today. As always, may the Lord continue to shine His face upon you. May you receive His grace and His mercy in all that you do. Until next time, everyone, remember that you are blessed in the Lord. Have a great day, everyone.